Okay, I had a meeting, so I had to cut my lesson short, and I don't think the substitute went over a whole lot. So I'm going to kind of continue on from where I left off here. So looks like he answered a couple of these. So the number one, it says explain why the circle for the parallelograms, that'd be this circle right here, okay, does not intersect the circle for the trapezoids. Well, a parallelogram has two pair of parallel sides. A trapezoid has what? One pair. So I'll say it again, and you can listen carefully and write it down. One possible answer or explanation is a parallelogram has two pairs of parallel sides that will never intersect, and a trapezoid has just one pair. So let me look down here. Here's two parallel lines. These two would obviously intersect. If we were to move that, not move it, but extend it, they would obviously intersect. And so there's only one pair of parallel sides. Same thing with this one. Here's the two parallel sides. These two would obviously, if you extend the lines, would intersect one another. For the question number two, that was a mouthful. I actually I cheated and used the answer that the book gave. So you guys can just copy it down here, but I'll read it to you. It says a square is a rectangle and a rhombus. It has four congruent sides of a rhombus and the four right angles and the four pairs of perpendicular sides of a rectangle. Wow! That's a mouthful because it says explain why the section of the Venn diagram for squares intersects both sections for the rhombus and the section for the rectangle. So there's your answer right there. You can pause it and just copy it down or listen to it again. All right, next page. Let's see here. Don't want to move it up too high. All right, let's see here. Use quadrilateral ABCD. So that's this one. This is what they're talking about here, ABCD. To answer each of the questions, to answer each question, complete the sentence. It says measure the sides. Are any of the sides congruent? And mark any congruent sides. Okay. Well, if you measured them carefully, you would find out that those two sides are congruent and these two sides are congruent. So the answer here is yes. Okay. They don't ask you to actually give the measurement, but so I'm not worried about that here. Letter B, it says how many right angles, if any, does the quadrilateral have? Is there any right angles in here? Okay, what's a right angle? Right angle is also a perpendicular angle. Remember, it's two lines that intersect and they form a 90-degree angle. Okay. Do you see any 90-degree angles in these four corners? No. Okay, so the answer is a none. Okay. How many pairs of parallel sides, if any, does the quadrilateral have? So are these two sides parallel? I would say yes. Are these two sides parallel? I would say yes. So how many pairs does it have? Remember, a pair is two. So here's one, and there's two. Okay? So quadrilateral ABC is a, what is it also? We went back a few pages. It's going to be one of these, and I'll let you figure it out. Okay? All right. What are we on here? 2. Classify the quadrilateral in as many ways as possible. So this is this rectangle, is it a quadrilateral? Does it have 4 parallel sides? Yes, so it's a quadrilateral. Is it a parallelogram? You bet it is. Is it a rectangle? Yes, it is. So those 3 you would put for number 2. Number 3, is this a quadrilateral? Yes, it is. And it's also a what? Trapezoid. So quadrilateral and trapezoid. All right. Classify the quadrilateral in as many ways as possible. So this is just like what we just did. Okay. So it's a quadrilateral. It's a parallelogram, a rectangle. It's also a rhombus and a square. I'll say it again. It's a quadrilateral, a parallelogram. It's a rectangle, a rhombus, and a square. All right. 5, there's only 2 choices here. It's a quadrilateral, and you guys know they're all quadrilateral. And a what? And a what? It's a trapezoid. Okay. Number 6 is a quadrilateral, a parallelogram, okay, and a rhombus. And finally, this last one here, 7, is a quadrilateral and a what? What do you call something that has 2 pairs of parallel sides? I'm not going to tell you that. Yeah, figure that one out. Last page. Last page. I'm not sure how many of these we'll do, but let's take a look. So number 8, a quadrilateral has exactly 2 congruent sides. Which quadrilateral types could it be? Which quadrilaterals could it not be? Well, it could be a quadrilateral or could be a trapezoid. These are hard. Could be a quadrilateral. Or a trapezoid. It could not be two congruent sides. Couldn't be a square. Not a square. Couldn't be a parallelogram. Or a rhombus. All right. Number 9. These are some, I'm not going to worry about. I'm not going to worry about number 9. How nice is that? Number 10. Let's see, the opposite corners of a quadrilateral are right angles. The quadrilateral is not a rhombus. What kind of quadrilateral is this figure, and how do you know? It says the opposite corners of the figure are right angles. That should be a huge clue. Since it's not a rhombus, it could only be what? It must be a rectangle. So I'm going to draw a rectangle here. And here's one side that's 90 degrees, one angle that's 90 degrees. The opposite side is, you also know it's 90 degrees, right? So if it's a rectangle, you know this is 90 degrees and this is 90 degrees, the opposite sides. Okay? Explain how you know. Must be a rectangle because if it could only have 4 right angles, since it's not a rhombus, it must be a rectangle. I'll say that again. With right angles on opposite corners, the figure can only have, well, it must have 4 right angles. 1, 2, 3, 4. And since it's not a rhombus, it must be a rectangle. So I'll let you write that out on your own. Not worried about number 11. Lengthy answer there also. How nice is that, huh? How about 12? For numbers 12A, B, and C, write the name of one quadrilateral from the tiles on the line to complete a true statement. Use each quadrilateral only once. Okay, so a blank is sometimes a square. A blank is always a rectangle. A parallelogram is never a, that's easy. Okay. You're on your own for those 3. All right. And I think that's it. Yep. Next round is 11.4. So there's your homework help. And give you guys most of the answers, but that's okay. You have to think about a few of them. All right. I'm going to end this video.